That's really tough. That's really tough. To go from this with all that movement to right here where she's basically perfect on her breath. She's not out of breath. She is completely grounded. Yeah, that's hard. All right, today we're going to look at more Beyonce. Boom, very excited. Okay. Right off of the bat, this is so necessary in pop music. The ability to be incredibly rhythmic with your consonants, with your vowels, glottal stops, which is when you do, it's like all a quick silence like that. So if I'm in the middle of a vowel and I cut myself off like that, that's a glottal stop. So that and all the little consonants and all that stuff obviously made super popular by Michael Jackson, or doing a lot of Michael Jackson covers and trying to get your hee-hee on. Boy, okay, actually, let's pause here real quick. I legit, when I'm having a student, whenever I have a student that has problems with their breath, with their air, whenever I have students with these difficulties, I ask them to make movements very similar to what we're seeing Beyonce do. Let me explain why. The lungs are basically like a plastic bag attached to the torso. You can see I can move that plastic bag by just kind of being next to it and moving, right? So this is why this matters. The reality is that we want a loose torso, because if the torso gets tight, if I do this or contract my back, I'm sending out breath pressure, excessive breath pressure, which is going to have all kinds of consequences, like I'm going to be flat and the high notes are going to be impossible. So we want a flexible torso. Her breath is so completely grounded after such a rigorous physical dance routine. I know that there's some folks who are telling me that her father, actually made her run in high heels, singing the songs that they were singing at the time, running in high heels down the road, just to make sure that they were not out of breath when they were doing these physically demanding dance routines. When I see this from Beyonce, I feel called out, as I should be. So I've been practicing my posture and started stretching out my traps, like you see in the right. Singers get told this story often, that it's talent. You either have it or you don't. And I think most singers, for the most part, reject that idea, but it's so pervasive that you end up kind of convincing yourself that you don't have to work on certain things. But those people who don't want to squat or stretch or do any hard work are going to lose out to people like Beyonce, who is doing all the things all the time, constantly working on her dance routine, constantly touring, constantly working on albums. I mean, this woman works her butt off, and the results show. And when I look at this, when I look at Beyonce's ability to move with complete and utter freedom and expressivity and then launch into singing like it's not a problem for her, because it's not a problem for her. When I watch that, I absolutely feel called out. And you should too, if you're a singer, or if you have ambitions or dreams, or you want to get good at something. You should absolutely feel called out right here in this video, because she's working it. See, okay, all right? You can't tell me. I know for a fact that at least 80% of you watching this right now, if we all had to do this dance routine that she just did and be calm and ground with the audience enough to go like, no. I think 80% of us would be like, no. Excuse me while I catch my breath for a second. This is really uncommon to be able to do. Jokes aside, it's really uncommon. And the independence of movement This is the skill that's so necessary for dancers. So if you kick and you're not really well trained with your body, if you kick here, that will put emphasis on whatever you kick on, because you're going to get a contraction of the torso, which means sudden increase in breath pressure, which means the note will either will get louder because you're handling it well, or it'll go flat. Birds flying high, you know how or it can break a line if you're trying to be legato. She's not trying to be legato, but like watch this kick on the beat. There's no change in her vocals. There's no change in them. That's incredibly difficult to do. She is basically kicking and moving her leg without it affecting her torso. I dare you to stand up and try doing that right now. It's hard. And when she's doing that down there, same thing. If you're over-reliant on your chops right there, your soft palate might go down and it might change the tone. But her tone is incredibly consistent, even when she's waving her head around. And again, that's just torso, that's independence, right? Muscle independence. This is something I think every student of mine should be paying attention to, because this is just a 2-minute excerpt of her performing. It's just 2 minutes, and you know that she's doing it for the whole show. That's a show of about an hour and a half to 2 hours. She's doing that, dancing and singing the whole time. Can any one of us do that? Probably not. Probably nobody watching can do that, because it's hard and it takes deliberate training. Segue. Awkward. So I have a live stream coming up from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. PST on Saturday. And if that goes well, I will follow up with different live streams to talk about things like muscle independence with Beyonce and answer questions, talk about other songs and how they break down from a theory perspective and what's cool about that, and where lyricism and all that stuff. Just anything singing related. I'm going to be doing it every Saturday, and I'll be taking questions for basically 4 hours as I go over something cool in singing that you all get to choose. Last time the subscribers chose this topic, which was cool people from Chloe and Hallie. They want to know how it breaks down from a music theory point of view. So if you want a say in what the live stream is, you can either show up to the live stream or subscribe and answer community polls. Until next time, happy singing, and I hope to see you on Saturday.